The Army depot woke with noise every morning. Trucks arrived, crates came down, officers gave orders. In the corner workbench, the old man sat quietly, taking apart broken components, repairing them, putting them back. One day, a young lieutenant stopped in front of the bench. He had a circuit board in his hand, complex circuits across its surface. "Can you fix this?" he asked, his voice carrying a faint edge of dismissal. "Or is it too complicated?" The old man took the board, put on his glasses, looked at it, then looked at the lieutenant. "I designed this circuit," he said quietly, "in 1979. The lieutenant had no answer. The old man took off his glasses and began to repair it. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Modern Faces of Life so you never miss these powerful stories of courage and hidden strength. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from today? Victor Hale was 67 years old and had been working at Fort Meade Logistics Depot for 2 years. On his application form under education, he had written electrical and electronics. Under experience, he had written various defense industry projects. The depot manager hadn't asked further. Someone was needed with good hands who worked quietly and never complained. Victor was exactly that. His workbench was in the farthest corner of the depot, small, old, looking disorganized. But look closely, and every tool was in its place. Every screw box was labeled. Every circuit board was numbered. What looked like chaos was in fact a very tight order. It just wasn't visible from the outside. Young officers rarely stopped at the bench. When something broke, they brought it. Victor repaired it. They took it back. Some thanked him, some didn't. Victor treated both the same way. He would look up, give a short nod. That was all. But there were things. Small, hard to notice things. Some equipment that technicians had spent 3 days on, would be fixed in an hour in Victor's hands. Some circuit boards even the manufacturer couldn't solve, would come out of Victor's bench working perfectly. And from time to time, very rarely, men in civilian clothes would come to the depot, walk directly to Victor, talk briefly, and leave quietly. Nobody questioned these visits. Nobody questioned Victor, because nobody was looking. The first major crack came the night the base communication system went down. It was late autumn. The depot had emptied. Most of the staff had left. Victor was working at his bench. Staying late was a habit of his. That was when a sergeant ran in breathlessly. "Hale," said the sergeant. "Main communication system is down. Technicians have been looking for hours, can't find it. Commander is losing it." Victor didn't look up. "When did it go down?" 2 hours ago. "Which section?" "Primary relay unit." Victor stopped, set down the tool in his hand, put on his glasses, then stood up. "Take me," he said. When they entered the communications center, 3 technicians were sitting at their screens. The commander stood in the middle, arms crossed, waiting. Everyone looked at Victor. Nobody said anything, because nobody knew what this old man was doing here. Victor walked to the front of the equipment. He bent down. He opened the back panel. He looked inside. He looked for a long time. Then he stood up. "Thermal expansion," he said. "Connection point C7, contracted in the cold, contact broken." The commander stepped forward. "How do we fix it?" Victor reached into his bag and took out a small tool. 3 minutes, he said. Exactly 3 minutes later, the system came back online. The commander looked at Victor. "Our technicians had been looking for 2 hours, he said. Victor collected his tool. "I know," he said, "because this connection point isn't mentioned in the manual." "Then, how did you know?" Victor took off his glasses. "I wrote the manual," he said. The commander didn't let Victor go that night. He called him to his office. The 2 men sat across from each other. "Hale," said the commander. "Who are you, really?" Victor was quiet for a moment, then he spoke. "A retired engineer. he said. Which institution? Various projects under the Department of Defense. The commander leaned forward. You said you wrote the manual. Which manual? Victor didn't answer. The commander pulled out a file. It had a classified stamp on it. He opened it. He turned a page. He pushed it toward Victor. Victor looked at the page. His expression didn't change. Is this you? The commander asked. On the page was a name, a photograph, and dozens of project codes. Beside the codes were brief descriptions. Under each description, the same signature. V. Hale. Victor pushed the page back. An old life, he said. The commander leaned back. You designed the most critical radar jamming system of the Cold War era, he said. We studied it at the academy, without knowing your name, just as a project code. Victor said nothing. Why are you here? The commander asked. Victor looked out the window. Outside, the depot lights were on. A truck was passing in the distance. Because some of this equipment was derived from my designs, he said, and if repaired incorrectly, it performs incorrectly. If it performs incorrectly, people get hurt. He paused. As long as I'm here, that won't happen. What would you have done sitting in that room? Looking at this old man across from the commander, with his worn apron, old tools, and small corner bench? Would you have seen just a repairman? Or would you have noticed that the lines drawn, the codes written, the systems designed decades ago were still alive in his hands? The commander called a contact at the Pentagon the next morning. He gave the name Victor Hale. The line went quiet for a long time on the other end. Then a voice came. Where did you say? Fort Meade Depot, working as a repairman. Another pause. How long? 2 years. And you're learning this after 2 years? The commander had no answer. The voice from the Pentagon continued. Victor Hale was one of this country's most valuable engineers. When he retired, we offered him a lifetime consulting position. He declined. We offered an academic position. He declined. Offers came from the private sector. He declined all of them. A pause. And now you're telling me he's repairing broken circuit boards in your depot? Yes, sir. A long silence. Don't touch him, said the voice finally. If he wants to be there, he has a reason. The commander said nothing to Victor, but his gaze changed, and over time that change in gaze spread to others. First, the sergeants noticed that every part that passed through Victor's bench broke down less. Then, the technicians noticed that Victor's repairs were different from standard procedure, but always lasted longer. Then, the young officers noticed that when Victor looked at a broken part, he was actually understanding the system, not just the part. Lieutenant Carter, the young man who had brought the circuit board, stopped in front of the bench one morning. He had no new board in his hand. He just stopped. I'm sorry, he said. That day. Victor looked up. He looked at the lieutenant. Which day? He asked. The lieutenant swallowed. When I first came, I didn't ask the way I should have. Victor looked at him for a moment, then smiled slightly. Very small, almost imperceptible. It doesn't matter, he said. You asked a question. That's enough. The lieutenant paused before leaving. Did you really design that circuit in 1979? I started at the end of 78, said Victor. Finished in 79. How old were you? Victor put on his glasses and turned back to his board. 23, he said. The lieutenant was quiet for a moment, then walked slowly away. Months passed. Small things changed at Fort Meade Depot. People coming to Victor's bench weren't just bringing broken parts anymore. Sometimes they brought questions. Sometimes a circuit diagram they didn't understand. Sometimes they just wanted to sit and watch. Victor gave time to all of them. He turned none away. But he never spoke like someone giving a lesson. He just did. And while doing, he explained. As if thinking out loud. Those who wanted to listen, listened. Those who didn't, left. Victor was the same for both. One morning, 2 men in civilian clothes came to the depot. They walked directly to Victor. There was a brief conversation. Victor nodded. The men left. The commander came to Victor about an hour later. "Who were those men?" he asked. Victor looked at his circuit board. "Old colleagues," he said. "What did they want?" "There's a system," said Victor. "New generation. There's an error in the design. I helped them find it." The commander paused. "By phone?" "No," said Victor. "They brought it here." "Why here?" Victor adjusted his glasses. "Because this bench is here," he said, "and so am I." That evening, as the depot was closing, the commander saw Victor still working. The bench lamp was on. Victor was bent over writing something. The commander approached. In front of Victor was a notebook, full inside, small letters and diagrams. "What is this?" the commander asked. Victor turned a page. "Notes," he said. "Maintenance protocols for the equipment in this depot. The parts not in the standard manuals." "Who are you writing it for?" Victor closed the cover. He held the notebook out to the commander. "For after me," he said. The commander took the notebook. It was heavy. Its pages were full, years of accumulated knowledge, written quietly at a workbench. "Are you going somewhere?" the commander asked. Victor stood up. He took off his apron. He organized his tools, placed each one back in its place, one by one. "Everything has an end," he said. "But what you leave behind doesn't have to." He walked to the door. The commander was still standing with the notebook in his hand. At the door he turned. "That circuit board," said the commander. "The one you designed in 1979. It's still in use." But Victor laughed. This time it was a real laugh. Something shone in his eyes. "I know," he said. "Something well-designed lives long." And he left. Some people want to write their names into history, monuments, awards, pages in books. Then one day, everything ends and only that page remains. And some people never write their names at all. They just do the work, quietly, consistently, every day. And what they leave behind keeps working long after they are gone. Victor Hale designed some of this country's most important defense systems. His signature remained on dozens of classified documents. But he never wanted to be in those documents. He only wanted to be at his bench, only wanted to be there while his hands repaired something. Because for some people, the greatest reward is seeing what they designed still working, still being useful, still helping someone. And Victor Hale, at his small corner bench, was seeing exactly that. Every day. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to Modern Faces of Life for more powerful stories of courage, sacrifice, and the extraordinary people living among us. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and never forget the quiet heroes working beside us every day.